Captain Daywan stood at the viewport of the Endurance, watching the massive Galactic Council station grow larger against the stars. The station looked like a silver wheel spinning slowly in space, its lights twinkling like distant cities. After 3 months of travel, humanity's first diplomatic ship had finally arrived. "Captain, we're receiving docking instructions," said Lieutenant Bora from her station. Her voice carried a hint of excitement she tried to hide. This was the moment Earth had worked toward for 50 years. Daywan turned from the window. "Take us in, Ensign Taeyang." "Nice and smooth." The young pilot grinned. "Yes, sir." "Making us look good." Dr. Hana walked onto the bridge carrying a data pad. "I've reviewed the ceremony protocols again. We bow slightly when introduced to council members. No handshakes unless they offer first. And we absolutely cannot mention military strength in our opening remarks." "Why not?" Bora asked. "Because they see us as primitives. Garden World species think talking about military power is crude." Hannah's voice carried frustration. "They believe true civilization is measured by how peaceful your homeworld was." Daywan nodded slowly. He had read the reports. The Galactic Council ranked species by their planet of origin. Garden worlds, peaceful and rich in resources, sat at the top. Harsh worlds with difficult conditions ranked lower. And death worlds, planets that actively tried to kill their inhabitants, sat at the bottom. Earth was classified as a death world, one of the worst according to their files. The Endurance glided into the docking bay. Through the windows, Daywan saw hundreds of ships from dozens of species. Some looked like crystals. Others resembled living organisms. Human engineering suddenly seemed plain and boring. "Docking complete," Taeyang announced. "We're locked in." "All crew, this is the captain," Daywan said into the ship-wide comm. "Remember your training. We represent Earth. Stay professional, stay calm. And remember, they've been watching us for decades. They know we can build ships and follow rules. Now we need to show them we belong at their table." Ambassador Giwan met them at the airlock. The older man wore formal diplomatic robes, his gray hair neatly combed. "Ready, Captain?" "As ready as we'll ever be." The airlock opened. Cool air rushed in, carrying strange scents, sweet like flowers but also metallic. The welcoming committee waited in the docking bay. Daywan counted 15 beings from different species. Some stood on 2 legs, others on 4. One floated, held up by some technology Daywan couldn't identify. At the center stood a tall, thin creature with blue skin and 4 arms. Its eyes sat on stalks that moved independently. This was Counselor Vextar, leader of the Arxelian people and head of the Council's membership committee. "Humans of Earth." Vextar's voice came from a translator device that made his words sound flat and emotionless. "Welcome to Axis Prime Station. We acknowledge your arrival." Ambassador Giwan stepped forward and bowed. "Counselor, we thank you for this opportunity. Humanity is honored to be considered for membership." "Considered, yes." Vextar's eye stalk swiveled to look at each human in turn. "Though membership is not guaranteed, your species presents unique challenges." Another being stepped forward. It looked like a massive cat standing upright, covered in gray fur with black stripes. "General Krisha of the Torvan Empire. Your world is violent. Your history is written in blood. You fight each other constantly." "We have had conflicts," Giwan admitted. "But we've also learned from them. Earth is unified now. We come in peace." "Peace born from exhaustion, perhaps," said a third alien. This one resembled a bird, with feathers that shimmered multiple colors. Scholar Pithrin of the Celestial Communion. Death world species often achieve temporary peace when they've simply run out of enemies to fight. Daywan felt Bora tense beside him. He placed a hand on her shoulder, a gentle warning. "If I may," Dr. Hana said, stepping forward. "We've prepared a presentation on human culture, technology, and history. Perhaps we could discuss this in a more formal setting." Vextar's eye stalks tilted. "Very well, follow." They walked through corridors that seemed to shift colors as they passed. Other species stopped to stare at the humans. Some whispered to each other. Daywan caught words through his translator. Scavengers, survivors, primitives. The council chamber was enormous. Hundreds of seats rose in tiers around a central platform. Representatives from countless worlds sat watching as the humans entered. The ceiling showed space above, stars visible through transparent metal. Dr. Hana took the central platform. Her presentation began with images of Earth, oceans, forests, mountains, cities. "Earth is a world of incredible diversity," she said. "Yes, it's challenging. We have predators, diseases, natural disasters, But these challenges taught us to adapt, to innovate, to work together. She showed human art, music, literature. She displayed technological achievements, fusion power, quantum computing, faster-than-light travel developed independently before first contact. We don't just survive, Hana continued. We create, we dream, we explore. We believe we can contribute meaningfully to the Galactic Council. When she finished, silence filled the chamber. Then the questions began. Your planet has over 200 predator species that can kill humans, Pithran said. How does constant fear shape your psychology? We don't live in constant fear, Hana replied. We learn to coexist with danger. Your oceans contain creatures that could swallow your vessels whole, another counselor added. Surely this created a scavenger mentality, taking what you can when you can before something takes it from you. Daewon saw Hana's jaw tighten, but she kept her voice steady. We're explorers, not scavengers. Vextar rose from his seat. Let us speak plainly. Earth is a death world. The worst classification. Your evolution was shaped by violence and desperation. Every species that survives such worlds carries that mark. You are cunning, yes. Resourceful, certainly. But these are the traits of scavengers, not builders of civilization. That's not fair, Bora said, too loud. Everyone turned to look at her. You don't know us. We know enough, General Krisha growled. We have observed your world for decades. You still have poverty, crime, conflict. You eat other living creatures. You build weapons even in peacetime. These are not the marks of an enlightened species. Ambassador Giwan raised his hands. Counselor Vextar, members of the council. We acknowledge Earth's challenges. We don't claim perfection. We ask only for a chance to prove ourselves worthy partners. And how do you propose to do that? Vextar asked. Give us tasks. Test us. Let us show you who we really are. The council members spoke among themselves in dozens of languages. Finally, Vextar's eye stalks focused on the humans again. Very well. You will remain on this station as provisional members. You may observe council proceedings. You may not vote. You will be treated as all Death World species are treated, with the respect due to survivors. But no more than that. Prove you are more than scavengers, and we will revisit your application. When? Giwan asked. When we decide you're ready. Dismissed. The humans walked back through the corridors in silence. Other species moved aside as they passed, giving them space as if they carried disease. Back in the Endurance, Bora slammed her fist on the table. Scavengers! They called us scavengers! They don't understand, Taeyang said quietly. Then we'll make them understand, Hana replied. Daewon stood at the viewport again, looking out at the station. In the distance he could see Earth, a small blue dot among the stars. He thought about everything humans had overcome. Ice ages and plagues, wars and disasters. They had clawed their way up from caves to starships, not through scavenging, through cooperation, innovation, and stubborn refusal to give up. Captain? Giwan stood beside him. What are you thinking? I'm thinking they're right about one thing, Daewon said. Earth made us tough. It made us survivors, but they're wrong about what that means. He turned to face his crew. We're not scavengers. We're people who learned that surviving isn't enough. We learned to protect each other, to build things that last, to dream of stars when we were still living in mud. So what do? Bora asked. We wait. We watch, we learn. And when the time comes, we show them what Earth really taught us. Outside the window, the stars burned cold and distant. Somewhere among them, Daewon knew other Death World species waited and watched. All of them labeled scavengers. All of them trying to prove they were something more. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. 3 weeks passed slowly on Axis Prime Station. The human crew attended council sessions, always sitting in the back where provisional members belonged. They ate in the lower dining halls with other Death World species. They followed every rule perfectly, and every day someone reminded them they were scavengers. Lieutenant Bora hated it. She stood in the observation deck, watching council security forces drill in the docking bay below. Torvan warriors moved in perfect formation, their weapons held high. They looked impressive, but something bothered her about how they fought. Too rigid, too predictable. They fight like they're dancing, said a voice behind her. Dr. Hana joined her at the window, everything choreographed. Everyone knows their exact position. It's probably never failed them before, Bora replied. Garden World species don't have real predators. They've never had to adapt on the fly. Let's hope they never need to. The alarm started 30 seconds later. It began as a low hum that made Bora's teeth hurt. Then sirens blared throughout the station. Red lights flashed in every corridor. All personnel to defensive positions, a calm voice announced. Unknown vessels detected. Multiple signatures. Hostile intent confirmed. Bora and Hana ran for the Endurance, the corridors filled with aliens rushing in every direction. Some looked confused, others panicked. Council security tried to maintain order, but chaos spread faster than control. Captain Daewon was already on the bridge when they arrived. Ensign Tae-yang sat at the pilot station, his hands dancing over controls. Captain, I count 47 hostile ships. They just appeared out of slipspace. No warning at all. What are they? Daewon asked. Computer doesn't recognize them. They're not in Council databases. On the main screen, the hostile fleet looked like nothing Bora had ever seen. The ships seemed organic, all curves and ridges. They pulsed with purple light. And they moved wrong. Not in formation. Not following any pattern. They swarmed like insects. Sir, they're launching attack craft, Tae-yang said. Hundreds of them. The Council defense fleet scrambled to respond. 20 warships, each one massive and powerful. Torvan battlecruisers formed a defensive line. Arxelian fighters launched in perfect wings. Celestial frigates took positions at the flanks. It all looked very professional, very organized. The hostile swarm hit them like a tsunami. Bora watched on the screen as the attack craft ignored all tactical logic. They didn't target shields or engines first. They struck randomly, anywhere and everywhere. The Council's defensive formation meant nothing, because the attackers weren't trying to break through it. They were flowing around it, past it, through any gap they could find. Their tactics make no sense, Giwan said, joining them on the bridge. No, Dr. Hana said quietly. They make perfect sense. They're hunting. Look at the movement patterns. Those are pack tactics, she was right. The hostile craft moved like wolves. Some drew fire while others struck from behind. When Council ships turned to engage one group, another group attacked their exposed sides. It wasn't military strategy. It was predatory instinct. What are they? Bora whispered. Vex, Hana read from her scanner. Computer just matched their biological signatures. The Vex, a hive mind species from beyond the rim. They've destroyed 4 civilizations in the past century. The first Council ship exploded. A Torvan cruiser caught between 3 Vex vessels simply came apart in a ball of fire. Debris scattered into space. They're breaching the station, Tae-yang said. Multiple hull breaches. The Vex are boarding. Daewon hit the comm. All crew to combat stations. Break out weapons. Full battle gear. Sir, we don't have authorization to deploy, Bora said. I don't care. Get armed. Now. Through the windows, Bora could see Torvan warriors moving to intercept Vex boarders. The Torvans formed perfect shield walls, weapons ready. Every warrior in precise position. The Vex hit them like a wave. The aliens poured through breaches in the hull. They looked like nightmares, 6-legged creatures with hard shells and too many eyes. They moved on walls and ceilings as easily as floors. They didn't form ranks or follow patterns. They just attacked. The Torvan shield wall held for maybe 10 seconds. Then Vex warriors climbed over it, around it, under it. They flanked the formation from 3 sides at once. The Torvans tried to adjust, but they didn't know how. Their training taught them to hold position. So they held position while they died. We have to help them, Bora said. General Krisha denied our request to deploy, Giwan replied. He said Council forces can handle this. They can't. Look at them. More Council forces rushed to defensive positions. Arxelian fighters patrolled the corridors in organized sweeps. Celestial soldiers set up firing positions at key intersections, all according to military doctrine developed over thousands of years on peaceful worlds. The Vex ignored all of it. They came through ventilation shafts. They cut through floors and dropped from ceilings. They attacked from directions that shouldn't be possible. A celestial defensive position collapsed when Vex burst through the wall behind them. The beautiful bird-like aliens tried to turn their weapons around, but there was no time. The Vex were already among them. Civilian sections are being overrun, Hana said, her voice shaking. They're going after the non-combatants. Daewon's jaw tightened. Tae-yang, how fast can you get us out of dock? 30 seconds if I ignore safety protocols. Do it. Bora, get our combat teams ready. Hana, I need you to predict where the Vex will strike next. Sir, General Krisha specifically ordered us not to. Giwan started. The general is watching his warriors die because they don't know how to fight predators. We do, Earth taught us. Now get ready. The Endurance pulled out of its dock without clearance. Alarms blared at them. Council traffic control screamed at them to return. Day one ignored it all. Hana, he asked. The doctor studied her screens. They're moving toward the council chambers. Not randomly. They're hunting specific targets. The leadership. Taeyang, get us to the council chambers. Bora, prep boarding teams. The ship streaked around the station's outer ring. Through the windows, Bora saw the battle raging in space. More council ships were dying. Their precise formations meant nothing against the Vex swarm. They fought like they were playing chess. The Vex fought like starving animals. Sir, look, Taeyang pointed at a display. A group of Vex assault craft had broken off from the main battle. They were heading for the council chambers from a different angle. They're flanking, Bora said. Just like Earth predators. One group draws attention while another circles around. Not just circling, Hana added. They're cutting off escape routes. They're trying to trap the council leadership inside. Through the comm channels, Bora heard General Krisha barking orders. Hold your positions. Maintain formation. Stand and fight with honor. His warriors obeyed. They stood their ground in perfect ranks. The Vex flowed around them like water, heading deeper into the station. Captain, the council chambers, Giwan said urgently. Councillor Vextar and the other leaders are trapped inside. On the screen, Bora saw council security desperately trying to seal the chamber doors. Inside, hundreds of council members huddled together. They looked terrified. Why wouldn't they be? Most of them came from worlds where the biggest danger was a mild storm. The Vex assault team hit the outer doors. They didn't try to blast through. They cut around them, finding weak points in the structure. They worked together perfectly, coordinated by their hive mind. We're not going to get there in time, Taeyang said. Yes, we are. Daewon stood up. Bora, take a team and get to those chambers. Taeyang, get us as close as possible. Hana, guide them through the fastest route. That route goes through 4 active combat zones, Hana said. Then we'll fight through them. Move! Bora grabbed her rifle and headed for the airlock. 10 humans waited there, all in combat armor. They looked scared. They had every right to be. But they also looked determined. Listen up, Bora said. The council thinks we're scavengers. Weak survivors from a violent world. Today we show them what Earth really made us. We're not going to fight like them. We're going to fight like us. Understood? Yes, ma'am. The airlock opened onto a station maintenance corridor. Emergency lights flashed red. Somewhere close, weapons fired and aliens screamed. Bora checked her rifle. For Earth. For the people who don't know how to fight predators. Let's move. They ran into the chaos. Behind them, the Endurance's weapons came online. Daewon's voice came over the comm, calm and steady. All council forces, this is Captain Daewon of Earth. We're engaging the Vex. We don't have authorization. We don't care. If you want to live, follow our lead. We know how to fight monsters. We were raised by them. The Vex assault team breached the council chamber's inner door. Councillor Vextar and the other leaders backed away, knowing they were about to die. Then human weapons opened fire from behind the Vex. Bora and her team hit them from an angle they weren't watching. The Vex turned, confused. Prey wasn't supposed to attack predators, come on, Bora shouted. Earth wants a word with you. The battle for Axis Prime Station had truly begun. The Vex turned fast, too fast. Their 6 legs carried them across walls and ceiling like gravity didn't exist. Their shells clicked and clattered as they swarmed toward Bora's team. Scatter, Bora shouted. The humans broke formation instantly. They dove behind cover, rolled into side corridors, dropped prone behind debris. The Vex charged at empty space where the formation had been a second before. A Torvan warrior watching from down the corridor gasped. They broke ranks. That's dishonorable. Dishonorable beats dead, Bora muttered, firing from behind a support column. Her shots hit a Vex in its cluster of eyes. The creature shrieked and stumbled. 2 more humans opened fire from different angles. The Vex couldn't focus on all of them at once. It spun, confused, then collapsed. Keep moving, Bora ordered. Don't stay in one spot. Make them chase you. The humans advanced through the corridor like water, flowing from cover to cover. When the Vex focused on one person, 2 others would fire from the sides. When Vex tried to flank, the humans were already moving to new positions. This is wrong, a Celestial officer said over the comm. They're not maintaining any tactical formation. Formation? Captain Daywan's voice came back. The Vex don't use formations. Why should we? Fight the enemy in front of you, not the one in your training manual. Bora's team reached the council chamber entrance. 3 Vex warriors guarded it. Behind them, more Vex were trying to cut through the inner door. Grenades, Bora said, but our people are right there. One of her team started. Flashbangs, not explosives. Vex have compound eyes. Blind them first, shoot them second. The grenades bounced off walls and detonated in brilliant white flashes. The Vex screeched, their multiple eyes overwhelmed. The humans rushed in, firing controlled bursts. 3 seconds later, the entrance was clear. Bora keyed her comm. Council chamber entrance secured. But the main doors are about to fall. Hold position, Daywan replied. Reinforcements coming. Through the chamber's transparent walls, Bora saw the council members pressed against the far side. Councillor Vexitar's eye stalks were pulled tight against his head, in what she guessed was fear. Scholar Pitherin's feathers had gone completely white. They had probably never seen real violence in their entire lives. The main door buckled. Vex claws punched through the metal. Bora raised her rifle. 10 humans against maybe 30 Vex, bad odds. But Earth had taught humans how to win fights they should lose. When they come through, she said to her team, aim for their legs first. Can't chase us if they can't run. Then hit the eyes. Then center mass. And keep moving. Always keep moving. The door exploded inward. Vex poured through the gap. Bora's team opened fire. The first 3 Vex dropped immediately, their legs blown out from under them. The ones behind stumbled over their bodies. Human weapons barked in steady rhythm. No panic fire. No wasted shots. Each bullet placed exactly where it needed to be. A Vex made it through the kill zone and leaped at Bora. She didn't try to block it. She dropped flat and let it sail over her head. As it passed, she shot it in its soft underbelly. The creature crashed into the wall behind her. They're adapting, one of her team shouted. The Vex were coming in lower now, harder to hit. So adapt back. Switch to... An explosion cut her off. Part of the wall beside the door vanished in fire and smoke. Through the new hole, more Vex rushed in. We're flanked. Someone yelled, no, we're not. Bora grabbed 2 of her team. You 3 with me. Everyone else, keep that door covered. She ran toward the new breach, not away from it. The Vex weren't expecting that. Prey was supposed to run away from predators, not toward them. The humans slid under the first wave of Vex and came up shooting from inside their formation. Confusion spread through the Vex assault. Their hive mind wasn't used to prey that broke all the rules. That's when the Endurance fired. Captain Daywan had brought the ship around to the chamber's exterior wall. The Endurance's point defense cannons opened up. Not at full power, that would breach the chamber, but enough to kill Vex trying to climb through from outside. All teams, be advised, Daywan's voice came over the comm. We're implementing Earth Tactical Doctrine station-wide. Council forces, I know this looks wrong to you. I know it seems chaotic, but trust us. We've been fighting predators since we lived in caves. Across the station, human teams engaged the Vex in a dozen places at once. Ensign Taeyang flew his fighter through the station's exterior framework, weaving between support struts. Vex ships tried to follow, but crashed into structures they couldn't predict. Taeyang didn't fly straight lines. He flew like a bird escaping a hawk. Random turns, sudden drops, loops that made no tactical sense but kept him alive. All Council fighters, this is Endurance, Taeyang said. Stop flying in formation. They can predict your movements. Be unpredictable. Make them guess. That's not proper fighter doctrine, an Arxelian pilot protested. Your proper doctrine is getting you killed. Taeyang banked hard around a communications array. 3 Vex fighters tried to follow. 1 made the turn. 2 smashed into the array. See? Predictable equals dead. Inside the station, Dr. Hana coordinated from the Endurance's bridge. She watched the battle on a dozen screens at once. Captain, the Vex are moving in pack patterns. Look here and here. 3 groups working together. 1 draws fire, 2 flank. Just like wolves, Daywan said. Exactly like wolves. So we fight them like humans fought wolves 10,000 years ago. How did we fight wolves? We cheated. Hana smiled grimly. We used terrain. We used fire. We used noise. We made them come at us where we wanted them. Daywan keyed the station-wide comm. All defensive teams, stop trying to hold every corridor. Let the Vex push you back. Make them follow you into intersections where you have clear firing lines from 3 sides. Captain, that's a fighting retreat. General Krisha's voice came over the comm. That's cowardice. That's surviving, General. There's no dishonor in being alive. In the council chamber, Bora's team had linked up with arriving council security forces. A squad of Torvan warriors stared at the human tactics with confusion and disgust. You fight without honor, their leader growled at Bora. You hide, you run, you refuse to face your enemy directly. We face them just fine, Bora said, dropping another Vex with a headshot. We just don't stand still while we do it. A warrior stands their ground. A smart warrior picks ground worth standing on. She pointed at 3 Vex trying to flank them. Like that. They're trying to get behind you. If you hold position, you die. If you fall back to that intersection, they have to come through a narrow corridor. Your choice. The Torvan hesitated. Every instinct, every moment of training told him to stand and fight. But he could see his warriors dying in their perfect formations across the station. Fall back, he ordered. His squad looked shocked. I said fall back. To the intersection. The Torvans retreated in good order. The Vex rushed after them, thinking they had broken the enemy. But at the intersection, the Torvans set up in a tight defensive position with clear firing lanes. When the Vex charged in, they ran straight into concentrated fire from 3 directions. That's cheating, the Torvan leader said. But he was smiling. Yeah, Bora agreed. That's the idea. Across the station, the same pattern repeated. Human teams taught council forces to fight dirty, to use cover, to retreat and regroup, to hit from unexpected angles, to break every rule of honorable combat in favor of rules that kept people alive. General Krisha watched from the command center. His face twisted in disgust and confusion. This is not war. This is scrambling, like animals. With respect, General, said a Torvan officer beside him, it's working. Our casualty rates just dropped by 60%. Dr. Hana identified a Vex command node, trying to coordinate the attack from a junction deep in the station. Captain, if we take out that node, the hive mind will fragment. But it's heavily defended. Send me the coordinates, Diwan said. Sir, there are at least 50 Vex protecting it. Then we'll need to be smart about it. Dewan pulled up tactical displays. Taeyang, how many escape pods does this station have? Hundreds, why? Because we're going to launch them all at once. Right past that Vex position. Hana caught on immediately. The Vex will think it's an evacuation. They'll chase the pods, giving us a clear run at their command node. Sometimes the best tactic isn't fighting better. It's making the enemy fight worse. The plan worked. Hundreds of empty escape pods launched simultaneously. The Vex swarm diverted to intercept them, thinking they were full of fleeing prey. Human and council teams rushed the suddenly exposed command node. The battle lasted 3 minutes. The Vex fought hard, but without support they fell to concentrated fire. When the command node died, something changed across the station. The Vex attacks became disjointed, uncoordinated. Individual groups fought on, but they weren't working together anymore. The hive link is breaking down, Hana reported. They're losing cohesion. All teams press the advantage, Day 1 ordered. Drive them back. In the council chamber, the last Vex warrior fell to combined human and Torvan fire. Silence descended, broken only by the sound of breathing and the crackle of flames. Councillor Vextar emerged from behind his barrier. His eye stalks moved slowly, taking in the carnage. Dead Vex covered the floor. The walls were scorched, but the council members were alive. The Vex Queen ship hung in space like a massive tumor. It was 3 times larger than any council vessel, its organic hull pulsing with purple bioluminescence. Around it, the remaining Vex fleet regrouped. They weren't retreating anymore. They were preparing for another attack. Captain Daewon studied the tactical display on the Endurance's bridge. Red icons showed damaged council ships limping back to the station. Green icons marked the survivors. There weren't enough green. Status report, he said. Dr. Hana looked up from her console. Station defenses are at 40%. We've lost 12 council warships. Another 8 are too damaged to fight. The Vex lost numbers, but their queen ship can produce more. It's literally breeding attack craft inside itself. How long until they're ready to attack again? Maybe 2 hours. Probably less, Ensign Taeyang rubbed his eyes. He'd been flying combat missions for 6 hours straight. Sir, we barely survived the first attack. And that was with surprise on our side. Next time, they'll know our tactics. Then we need to make sure there isn't a next time. Day 1 pointed at the queen ship. We take that out. The Vex lose their command structure and their production capability. Lieutenant Bora, freshly returned from the station with her combat team, shook her head. Sir, that ship has more armor than our entire fleet combined. The Council's been hitting it with everything they have. They can't even scratch it. We can't attack it from outside, agreed, so we attack it from inside. Silence fell across the bridge. Everyone stared at him. That's suicide, Bora said flatly. Probably, Day One admitted, but it's the only option that works. A small team boards the Queen ship, plants explosives at key structural points and destroys it from within. Getting inside a Vex hive ship? Hana's voice rose. That's not suicide, that's offering yourself as dinner. I know. That's why I'm only asking for volunteers. I'll go, Bora said immediately. Me too, added Taeyang. Around the bridge, hands went up. Every human crew member volunteered. Daewon felt pride and terror in equal measure. We'll need a small team. 6 people maximum. Bora, pick your squad. Taeyang, you'll fly us in. Hana, I need you to find the Queen ship's weak points. Captain, you can't go, Ambassador Giwan said. You're the ship's commander, which is exactly why I'm going. I won't order anyone to do something I won't do myself. A comm request came through. General Krisha appeared on screen. Captain Day One, we've finished repairs on our remaining warships. We're preparing for the next Vex assault. General, there won't be another assault. We're taking out the Queen ship. The Torvan's eyes widened. That's impossible. Nothing can penetrate that vessel's defenses. Then it's a good thing we're not going through the defenses. We're going inside it. Krisha stared at him. You mean boarding action? Against a hive ship. He searched for words. That's the most insane tactical decision I've ever heard. On your world, maybe. On Earth, we have an animal called a honey badger. It's small, weighs maybe 15 kilograms, but it fights animals 10 times its size. Lions back down from it. Even predators that could kill it easily leave it alone. Why? Because the honey badger doesn't care about odds. It doesn't care about size. If you threaten what it protects, it will fight you until one of you is dead. And usually the bigger animal decides the fight isn't worth it. Daewon smiled without humor. We're Earth's honey badgers, General. And that Queen ship just threatened our hive. You'll all die. Maybe, but the Vex will learn that attacking humans is too expensive to be worth it. Sometimes that's the best victory you can hope for. Krisha was quiet for a moment. I misjudged your species, Captain. You're not scavengers. You're warriors who understand that victory sometimes costs everything. He saluted. My fleet will provide covering fire for your approach. Thank you, General. The boarding team assembled in the Endurance's shuttle bay. Bora had chosen 5 soldiers, tough veterans who'd survived the station battle. They loaded weapons and checked equipment in silence. Dr. Hana briefed them using a holographic model of the Queen ship. The Vex Queen is in here at the ship's core. She's the heart of their hive mind. Kill her, and every Vex in the fleet loses coordination. But to reach her, you'll have to fight through thousands of drones. They'll defend their queen to the death. Good thing we're willing to match that commitment, Bora said. These are the structural weak points. Hana highlighted 6 locations on the model. Organic ship means organic support structures. Explosives here, here, and here should cause catastrophic failure. But you'll need to get deep into the ship. How deep? Daewon asked. The ship's core, where the Queen lives, where every Vex drone in that ship will be trying to stop you. One of the soldiers laughed nervously. So we just have to fight through an entire hive, plant bombs in the most defended location possible, and escape before it explodes. Easy. No one said it would be easy, Daewon replied. But when has anything humans do been easy? We climbed mountains that killed half the expedition. We sailed oceans not knowing if we'd find land. We went to space knowing we might never come home. Difficult is what Earth trained us for. He looked at each team member. This mission might fail. We might all die. But if we don't try, the Vex will regroup and attack again. More council members will die. Maybe the whole station falls. That's not acceptable. Sir, Taeyang said. The assault craft is ready. The team loaded into a small ship designed for one purpose, punching through enemy defenses to deliver troops where they weren't wanted. It was fast, armored, and had enough firepower to blast a hole in almost anything. Endurance to Council Fleet, Daewon transmitted. We're beginning our attack run. Request covering fire. Acknowledged, General Krisha replied. All ships concentrate fire on the Queen ship's fighter screen. Clear a path for the humans. The Council warships opened fire. Beams of energy streaked across space, smashing into Vex fighter swarms. The aliens scattered, trying to respond to threats from multiple directions. Now, Daewon ordered. Taeyang launched the assault craft at full thrust. The small ship screamed across the battlefield, weaving between explosions and weapons fire. Vex fighters tried to intercept, but Council ships drove them back. For once, the proper military formations worked. They created a corridor through the chaos. 30 seconds to target, Taeyang said. His hands danced across controls, making tiny adjustments that kept them alive. A Vex fighter exploded directly in their path. Taeyang rolled the ship and flew through the debris field. The Queen ship grew larger in the viewport. Up close, it looked even more alien. The hull rippled like skin. Openings appeared and closed like breathing holes. It was less a ship and more a living creature. There, Hana had sent them targeting data. A larger opening in the hull, maybe a launch bay. That's your entry point. Holding on might be a good idea, Taeyang said cheerfully. Then he aimed the ship directly at the opening and fired every weapon. The Queen ship's hull exploded inward. The assault craft screamed through the gap into organic corridors filled with Vex drones. Taeyang didn't slow down. He flew through the interior, smashing aside anything in their path, until he found a space large enough to land. The craft hit hard. Equipment rattled. Someone swore. Then the doors opened. Go, 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 Bora shouted. The team rushed out into hell. The interior of the Queen ship was nightmare made real. Everything was organic. Walls that pulsed, floors that felt warm underfoot, light that came from bioluminescent growths. And everywhere, Vex drones scuttled on walls and ceiling. The humans opened fire. Vex fell, but more took their place. The corridor filled with weapons fire and alien screams. Move forward, Day One ordered. Don't get pinned down! They advanced through the ship, fighting every step. Hana's directions guided them deeper into the hive. Left at the next junction. Down this passage. Through this chamber, always toward the core. The Vex attacked in waves. Sometimes dozens at once, sometimes single drones leaping from shadows. The humans fought like the Deathworld species they were. Vicious, adaptable, refusing to stop. One soldier went down, overwhelmed by Vex. Another took a hit that cracked his armor. They kept moving because stopping meant death. Captain, Hana's voice came through calm, breaking up with interference. You're close. One more corridor. But sensors show massive Vex concentrations. The Queen's chamber is directly ahead. Understood. Team, this is it. We set charges, we run. Simple. Nothing about this is simple, Bora muttered. They entered the Queen's chamber and stopped. The space was enormous, cathedral-like, and at the center, the Vex Queen towered 3 stories tall. She looked like a massive spider merged with a squid, her body covered in pulsing egg sacs. Thousands of Vex drones surrounded her, a living carpet of claws and shells. Set charges on those support structures. Day One pointed at massive organic columns holding the ceiling. 30-second timers. On my mark. The team spread out, moving carefully. The Vex watched but didn't attack. They were waiting for orders from their queen. Bora planted her charge and activated it. Green light showed 30 seconds counting down. Other team members did the same. 5 charges total, all active. Then the Vex Queen screamed. Every drone in the chamber rushed forward at once. Thousands of them. A wave of claws and teeth. The assault craft tumbled through space, dead and dark. Inside, emergency lights flickered red. The engines were gone. Life support was failing. They had maybe 10 minutes of air. Can we restart the engines? Captain Daewon asked. Taeyang checked his instruments, then shook his head. Fuel lines ruptured. Even if I could start them, we'd just explode. Through the viewport, they watched the Queen ship's remains scatter into debris. Vex fighter craft fled in all directions, their hive mind shattered. In the distance, Axis Prime Station still burned, but it was alive. They had saved it. At least we won, one of the soldiers said quietly. Bora checked her team. 3 injured, 1 seriously, all exhausted, all running out of air. Council Fleet, this is Lieutenant Bora. Our craft is disabled. Engines dead. Requesting immediate rescue. Static answered her. Communications are out too, Taeyang said. The explosion fried most of our systems. How long do we have? Daewon asked. 8 minutes of air. Maybe 9. In the silence that followed, nobody panicked. Earth had taught humans that sometimes you die. Sometimes you give everything and get nothing back except the knowledge that others survived. It wasn't fair, but fairness was a garden world concept, sir, Bora said. It was an honor serving with you. Daewon smiled. The honor was mine, Lieutenant. Then something appeared on the viewport. A ship, small, fast, flying in erratic patterns that made no tactical sense. Is that? Bora started. The Endurance's second assault craft, Taeyang said, suddenly grinning. Someone came for us. The craft matched their tumble, moving with incredible precision. Its bay doors opened. A figure in a spacesuit floated out carrying a cable. They attached it to the disabled craft's hull and signaled. They're towing us in, Daewon said. The rescue craft pulled them into its bay. When the doors sealed and air returned, the boarding ramp opened. Ensign Minho stood there looking proud of himself. Permission to rescue the captain? He said, saluting. Permission extremely granted, Daewon replied. Minho, you disobeyed orders. We told all non-essential personnel to stay on the Endurance. Yes, sir. I'll accept any punishment. After you're safe, they transferred to the rescue craft. Minho had brought medical supplies. They treated wounds while flying back to the station slow and steady. The disabled craft still attached by cable. Sir? Minho said. You should see this. He pulled up a display showing space around the station. Council ships had formed a defensive perimeter. But they weren't in traditional formations anymore. They were scattered, unpredictable, covering each other from multiple angles. Human tactics. They had learned. The Endurance met them halfway. Dr. Hana was in the landing bay when they arrived. Running scans before anyone could even step off the craft. You're all alive, she said, and her voice broke slightly. I watched that ship explode. I thought, we're tougher than we look, Bora said. You're tougher than anyone looks. Hana checked the wounded soldier. Broken ribs, internal bleeding, but stable. Medical team is ready. Let's move. As they walked through the Endurance's corridors, the crew they passed stopped and saluted. Not just humans. The ship had taken on refugees during the battle. Torvan warriors, celestial scholars, Arxelian civilians. All of them stopped to acknowledge the boarding team. One young celestial approached nervously, her feathers still stained with soot. Thank you, she said simply. My family was in the civilian section. You saved us, Daewon nodded to her. That's what we do. But you're Death World species. Everyone said you were dangerous. That we should fear you. We are dangerous, Bora said. Earth made sure of that. But we choose who we're dangerous to. On the bridge, Ambassador Giwan waited with news. The Council wants to see you immediately, all of you. Are we in trouble for unauthorized deployment? Daewon asked. I don't think trouble is the word they're using. The Council chamber looked different now. Scorch marks covered the walls. Debris had been pushed to the sides but not yet removed. Council members sat in their seats, but they didn't look as confident as before. They looked like people who had seen real war. Councillor Vextar stood when the humans entered. His eye stalks focused on Captain Daewon. Captain, members of Earth's delegation. The Council wishes to acknowledge your actions during the Vex attack. We did what needed to be done, Daewon replied. You violated direct orders. You deployed without authorization. You ignored established military doctrine. Vextar paused. You saved countless lives by doing so. General Krishaw stepped forward. His armor was dented and scarred from battle. I told you to stand down. I said Council forces could handle the Vex. I was wrong. Completely, absolutely wrong. He looked at his own warriors standing nearby. My soldiers died because I valued honor over survival. Because I thought there was a proper way to fight. You showed me that the only proper way to fight is the way that keeps your people alive. General, Daewon said carefully. Honor isn't worthless, but honor that gets people killed isn't really honor. It's pride, Scholar Pithrin spoke next. The bird-like alien's feathers had lost their shimmer. I lectured about evolutionary hierarchy. Garden world's superior, harsh world's inferior, death world's lowest of all. I was wrong about that too. Your world is harsh, yes, but that harshness taught you adaptability. It taught you to value life because you know how easily it can be lost. That's not a weakness. That's wisdom we lack. Councillor Vextar raised all four arms. The Galactic Council wishes to make a formal declaration. Humanity of Earth is granted full council membership, effective immediately. No probation, no limitations, full rights and responsibilities. The chamber erupted in approval. Species from dozens of worlds stood and acknowledged the humans. Even the Death World species in the back, those labeled Scavengers along with humanity, cheered loudest of all. Furthermore, Vextar continued, we are creating a new council designation. Deathworld species will no longer be classified as scavengers or survivors. The new classification is Death World Guardians, species who learned to fight not because they wanted to, but because they had to, and who chose to use that knowledge to protect others. That's a good name, Bora said quietly. There's more, Vextar said. General Krisha, please. The Torvan general stepped forward carrying something, a medal on a chain. Lieutenant Bora, Ensign Taeyang, the Council awards you its highest military honor, the Star of Valor, for actions above and beyond any reasonable expectation of duty. He placed medals around their necks. Bora looked uncomfortable. Taeyang looked like he might cry. I hate ceremonies, Bora muttered. I know, Daewon whispered back. Smile anyway. After the ceremony, the council chamber slowly emptied. Daewon found himself standing with Councillor Vextar near the damaged wall where Vex had broken through. I owe you an apology, Vextar said. I called your species scavengers. I implied you lacked culture, refinement, honor. I was prejudiced based on where you came from rather than who you are. You weren't completely wrong, Daewon admitted. Earth did make us scavengers. We learned to take what we could, use what we found, survive however possible. But we also learned something else. What? That survival alone isn't enough. What matters is what you do after you survive. Do you hoard what you have? Or do you share it? Do you exploit the weak? Or protect them? Earth gave us the ability to be dangerous. We chose to be dangerous only to things that threaten people who can't fight back. Vextar's eye stalks moved in what might have been a nod. You mentioned an Earth creature. The honey badger? Small animal, maybe 15 kilograms. But it fights lions, fights hyenas, fights animals that could kill it without effort. Not because it's stupid, because it refuses to back down when something it cares about is threatened. And that's humanity? That's what we try to be. We're small compared to your empire, new compared to your civilizations, but we'll fight anything that threatens people we care about, even if we know we'll lose, even if it means we all die, because Earth taught us that some things are worth dying for, such as each other. Later on the Endurance's observation deck, the boarding team gathered. They were battered, exhausted, and completely out of regulation. Bora had removed her medal and left it somewhere. Taeyang was asleep in a chair. The others just stared out at the stars. We did it, one of them said. We actually did it. We got lucky, Bora replied. Ridiculously lucky. Maybe, Daewon said. Or maybe we made our own luck. That's what humans do. We see impossible odds and we figure out how to survive them, not because we're stronger or smarter, because we refuse to give up. Dr. Hana joined them, carrying coffee for everyone. Real coffee from Earth, saved for special occasions. The Council is already changing their defensive doctrines. They're implementing human tactics fleet-wide. General Krisha is personally overseeing the training. Good, Daewon said. Maybe next time fewer people will die. Do you think the Vex will come back? Maybe. But if they do, the galaxy will be ready. Not fighting like Garden World species trying to preserve honor. Fighting like survivors who protect what they love. Ambassador Giwan appeared on the observation deck. Captain, I just received word from Earth. They want a full report on everything that happened. Tell them we showed the galaxy what humans are, Daewon said. Not scavengers.